Commander Jack Shepard watched the unusual blip on the radar screen. It had appeared 3 days ago at the edge of the solar system, and now it was moving slowly toward Earth. Jack had been on the International Space Station Alpha for 6 months, and this was the first truly exciting thing to happen. "Still no response to our signals?" Jack asked his communications officer. Karen Ellis shook her head. "Nothing, sir. Whatever it is, it's not talking to us." Jack rubbed his chin, feeling the stubble that had grown there. The year was 2087, and humanity had spread to Mars and Europa, but they had never found alien life. Until now, perhaps. "I want to take the USS Horizon out to meet it," Jack said. "Assemble a small team. We leave in 2 hours." The USS Horizon was a scout ship, small and fast. It wasn't built for combat, but it could reach the mysterious object in less than a day using its new fusion drive. Jack picked 4 crew members: Karen for communications, Ben Porter for navigation, Dr. Sam Rivera for science, and Joe Kelly for security. As they prepared the ship, Jack received a call from Earth Command. "Commander Shepard, this is General Frank Miller. Are you sure this is wise? We don't know what's out there." "With respect, sir," Jack replied. "If it is alien life, first contact should be in space, not on Earth. We'll be careful." The general sighed. "Very well, Commander. But at the first sign of danger, you turn that ship around. Understood?" "Understood, sir." 6 hours later, the USS Horizon approached the mysterious object. It was a ship, roughly the size of a small airplane with strange markings and what looked like weapon damage on its hull. "It's definitely not one of ours," Ben said, staring at the view screen. Dr. Rivera looked at his instruments. "I'm detecting one life form inside. Faint life signs." Jack felt his heart beat faster. This was history in the making. "Let's bring it into our cargo bay," he said. "Full containment protocols." The crew worked together to capture the alien vessel with their tractor beam and pull it into the cargo bay. Once it was secure, they donned their environmental suits and went to investigate. The alien ship was made of a metal they had never seen before. It had a strange, organic look to it, and parts of it seemed to be slowly repairing themselves. "That's impossible," Dr. Rivera muttered, scanning the hull. "The metal is alive somehow." Joe Kelly had his hand on his sidearm. "Can we get inside?" They found what appeared to be a door, and after some exploration figured out how to open it. Inside, the air was thick and hot like a tropical jungle, and there, in what seemed to be the pilot's seat, was the first confirmed alien life form humans had ever encountered. It was roughly the size of a human, but covered in scales like a reptile. Its skin was a deep blue color with white stripes, and it had 4 arms, each ending in clawed hands. It was clearly injured, with a dark purple fluid leaking from wounds on its side. "It's alive," Dr. Rivera said, scanning it with his medical device. But barely. The alien's eyes opened suddenly, yellow with vertical pupils like a cat's, and it hissed, trying to back away. "Easy," Jack said, raising his hands to show he had no weapons. "We're not going to hurt you." The alien stared at them, then let out a sound like a deflating balloon. It seemed to be in pain. It pointed to its wounds, then to the ship around them, then made a slashing motion across its throat. Dr. Rivera frowned. "I think it's trying to tell us that whatever damaged its ship also injured it." The alien nodded vigorously. It could understand. Them, at least somewhat. Jack made a decision. "We're taking it back to Earth. Dr. Rivera, can you stabilize it?" "I can try, but its biology is completely different from ours. I don't know what will help and what might harm it." The alien reached out and touched Jack's suit, leaving a smear of purple blood. Then it began to draw on the floor of its ship using the blood. It drew a simple picture: a small creature running from a much larger one with sharp teeth. "It's being hunted," Karen said softly. "It's a refugee." Jack nodded. "All the more reason to help." He turned to the alien. "We'll protect you. Can you tell us who's after you?" The alien drew again, this time making a picture of 7 large ships, and inside them, tall figures wearing what looked like armor. Great, Joe muttered. It's not just running from one hunter, but a whole fleet of them. Jack helped Dr. Rivera move the alien to their ship's medical bay. It was heavier than it looked, and its body temperature was much higher than a human's. Once it was settled, Dr. Rivera gave it some water, which it drank eagerly. What should we call it? Karen asked. The alien made a sound like krill from its throat. Krill? Jack suggested. The alien nodded, seemingly accepting the name. As they prepared to return to Earth, Ben called Jack to the bridge. Commander, you need to see this. Jack looked at the long-range scanners. Far beyond where they had found Krill's ship, at the very edge of the Kuiper Belt, there was a distortion in space. Something large was out there, watching. Should we investigate? Ben asked. Jack shook his head. No, we get Krill to Earth first. Then we can worry about what might be following it. What they didn't know was that the distortion was not one ship, but 7 massive vessels, each the size of a small city. Inside them, the Void Stalkers prepared their weapons and studied the readouts from the human ship. They had been tracking their prey for 3 solar systems, and they weren't about to let it escape now. The leader of the hunt, a 9-foot-tall warrior in black armor, watched the human ship accelerate toward Earth. Let them go, he told his hunters. Let them take our trophy home. Then we will have not just one hunt, but an entire planet of new prey. As the USS Horizon flew back to Earth with its historic passenger, Jack felt a strange chill run down his spine. He looked at the stars and wondered if they had just made first contact, or if they had just placed Earth in terrible danger. What they had done was both, and Earth had 7 days before the Void Stalkers would arrive to claim their trophy, and any other interesting specimens they found along the way. Krill knew this, but couldn't yet tell them. All it could do was prepare the humans for what was coming, and hope that they were as resourceful as the stories said they were. Because, if not, Earth would become just another hunting ground for the galaxy's deadliest predators. The news of an alien visitor spread quickly. When the USS Horizon landed at the North American Space Center in what used to be Colorado, hundreds of reporters and thousands of curious people waited outside the gates. Security teams kept them, back as Krill was moved to a special medical facility. Dr. Liz Morgan had studied alien biology for 20 years, though until now, it had all been theory. She wore a protective suit as she entered Krill's room for the first time. "Hello?" she said, speaking slowly. "My name is Dr. Morgan. I'm here to help you heal." Krill watched her with those strange yellow eyes. Its wounds had been treated, but the medical team wasn't sure if their methods would work on an alien body. Krill pointed to a table nearby. Dr. Morgan realized it wanted something to write with. She gave it a tablet and stylus. Krill drew quickly. First, it drew 7 large ships. Then it drew the Earth. Then it drew the ships surrounding Earth. Finally, it drew a clock with what looked like 7 marks on it. 7 ships coming to Earth in 7 time units? Dr. Morgan guessed. Krill nodded vigorously. It drew again. Tall figures with weapons, hunting smaller figures that looked human. They're coming to hunt us? Dr. Morgan felt a chill run through her body. Krill nodded again, then drew itself, with the hunters chasing it. They were hunting you, and now they'll hunt us because we helped you, Dr. Morgan said. Krill hung its head, as if ashamed. Dr. Morgan called an emergency meeting with military leaders. Colonel Alan West, head of Earth Defense Forces, didn't believe the aliens' warnings. This could be a trick, he argued. For all we know, this Krill is a scout for an invasion force. Commander Shepard disagreed. You didn't see its ship, Colonel. Krill was running from something powerful. We need to get better communication with it, Dr. Morgan said. I've been working on a translation device based on its brain patterns. I need another day. Colonel West frowned. We may not have a day. The next morning, the lunar colony sent an urgent message. Their long-range scanners had detected something massive approaching from the edge of the solar system. Not 1 ship, but 7. Dr. Morgan worked frantically to finish her translation device. It wasn't perfect, but it might be enough. She attached it to Krill's neck, where it could pick up the vibrations from what she guessed was its vocal organ. Can. You understand me? She asked. The device hummed, then produced a metallic voice. Yes, understand. The words were simple but clear. Who is coming? Dr. Morgan asked. Void stalkers, the device translated. Galaxy's apex hunters. They hunt intelligent species. For sport. For trophies. Colonel West, who had joined them, asked, Why were they hunting you? My people. Scientists. We found way to fight them. I only survivor. Have knowledge here. Krill tapped its head. They want it gone. Can they be reasoned with? Dr. Morgan asked. No. Hunt is sacred to them. Will not stop until trophy claimed. Colonel West's phone rang. His face paled as he listened. The ships have just passed Jupiter, he said after hanging up. They'll be here in hours, not days. Earth's military forces went on high alert. Every weapon system was activated. In orbit, the space fleet prepared for battle, though no one knew if their weapons would work against the alien ships. 6 hours later, 7 massive ships appeared suddenly in Earth orbit. They were huge, each one at least a mile long, with strange spikes and what looked like skulls decorating their hulls. All communications on Earth were interrupted. Every screen, every phone, every radio broadcast the same message. People of Earth, we are the Void Stalkers. We have tracked our escaped trophy to your world. Surrender it or face extinction. The message repeated in all languages. The world's leaders gathered in an emergency session. Some wanted to hand Krill over. Others refused to give in to threats. While they debated, the Void Stalkers demonstrated their power. One of their ships fired a beam of energy at the lunar colony. In seconds, the colony and everyone in it were gone, leaving only a smoking crater on the moon's surface. Panic spread across Earth. Some people rioted. Others prayed. Colonel West and his forces prepared for war. Dr. Morgan stayed with Krill, trying to learn more about the enemy. How do they hunt? She asked. Send hunters to surface. Elite warriors with advanced technology. They do not kill. All at once, not honorable. They hunt group by group, enjoy fear. Do they have any weaknesses? Colonel West asked. Follow strict code. Consider only fair hunt honorable, but their honor means nothing to prey. Before Krill could explain further, the building shook. The Void Stalkers had started their attack. Their ships remained in orbit, but smaller vessels were landing in major cities around the world. Colonel West received reports from his forces. The alien hunters were humanoid but stood over 9 feet tall. They wore armor that could deflect bullets and had weapons that could disintegrate a tank. Worst of all, they had some kind of technology that made them nearly invisible until they attacked. Earth's military forces fought back, but they were outmatched. The hunters weren't trying to kill everyone at once. Instead, they were targeting small groups, almost like they were playing with their prey. Dr. Morgan helped Krill move to a more secure location underground. As they traveled through the corridor, Krill suddenly stopped and grabbed Dr. Morgan's arm. Listen, Krill said through the translator. Not here by accident, chose Earth for reason. What reason? Dr. Morgan asked. Humans have reputation in Galaxy, adaptable, tenacious, never surrender. Krill's yellow eyes seemed to glow brighter. If any species can defeat Void Stalkers, it is humans. Colonel West joined them in the secure bunker. Half of New York is gone, he said grimly. London is under attack. Beijing is fighting back, but they're losing. Need plan, Krill said. Need to study hunters, find weakness. We need someone who can get close enough to observe them without being caught, Colonel West said. Dr. Morgan thought for a moment. I know someone. Ryan Hayes. He was a Navy SEAL, now works with our research team on adaptive camouflage. Get him here, Colonel West ordered. And I want Dr. Patricia Kim too. If there's a technological weakness to find, she's the one to find it. As they made these plans, a Void Stalker hunter stood in the ruins of what had been a small town in Nebraska. It held up the head of a human soldier as a trophy. The hunt was going well, but something bothered the hunter. These humans fought differently than other prey. They adapted quickly, already changing tactics. The headhunter, in orbit above, watched the patterns of human resistance. These creatures were more interesting than expected. This would not be a simple hunt, it would be a challenge worthy of the Void Stalkers, and they loved a challenge. Ryan Hayes crouched behind the burned-out shell of a car, watching the Void Stalker hunter move through the ruins of downtown Chicago. The hunter was tall and moved with scary grace despite its size. Its armor seemed to shift colors to match, its surroundings making it hard to see clearly. Ryan had been a Navy SEAL for 12 years before joining a special research team. Now those skills were keeping him alive. He had been tracking this hunter for 3 hours, staying downwind and moving only when the hunter was focused on something else. The hunter stopped near a collapsed building and made a clicking sound. It lifted something from the rubble, a human arm. Ryan felt sick but kept watching. The hunter attached the arm to its belt, where several other body parts hung like trophies. Ryan's radio buzzed softly. Eagle 1, do you copy? It was Dr. Patricia Kim who was monitoring him from the underground bunker a mile away. I copy, Ryan whispered. Target is still collecting trophies. Can you get any readings on its armor? Dr. Kim asked. Ryan lifted a small device and pointed it at the hunter. The device scanned the hunter's armor and sent the data back to Dr. Kim. Interesting, she said after a moment. The armor is using some kind of sound-based technology for its camouflage. It's reading the environment and adapting to it. Does that give us anything we can use? Ryan asked. Maybe. Keep observing. We need more data. Ryan stayed hidden as the hunter moved on. He followed at a safe distance, using all his training to remain undetected. Back at the bunker, Dr. Kim shared her findings with Colonel West, Dr. Morgan, and Krill. The hunters use sound waves as part of their sensory system, she explained. It's like echolocation but much more advanced. They can see in all directions at once. That's how they detect prey so easily, Krill said through the translator. Very sensitive to movement and heat. But such sensitivity could be a weakness, Dr. Kim said. If we could create a device that emits sound at the right frequency, we might be able to overload their senses. Like a flashbang for their ears? Colonel West asked. Exactly. But we need to know the exact frequency that would affect them. Need to capture Hunter, Krill said. Study up close. Colonel West shook his head. Too dangerous. We've lost entire squads trying to take these things down. Not if we use their hunting code against them, Dr. Morgan suggested. Krill says they follow strict rules for hunting. What if we challenged one to single combat? That's suicide, Colonel West said. Not for me. Ryan's voice came through the radio. I've been watching them. They're bigger and stronger, but they're arrogant. They don't expect prey to fight back effectively. Too risky, Colonel West insisted. We're running out of options, Dr. Morgan said. The hunters have taken control of most major cities. They're displaying human trophies to spread fear. It was true. Around the world, the Void Stalkers had placed human heads and limbs on spikes in city centers. Their message was clear. Humans were just prey to be hunted. While they debated, Krill moved to a computer terminal and began typing. The alien's four hands moved with surprising speed. What are you doing? Dr. Morgan asked. Sharing information, Krill replied. Need to tell truth. On the screen appeared diagrams of the Void Stalker biology, their armor systems, and their weapons. It was more detailed than anything they had been able to learn so far. How do you know all this? Colonel West asked suspiciously. Krill's yellow eyes seemed to dim slightly. Not random victim. Was scientist. Created weapon against Void Stalkers. Biological weapon that targets their specific biology. Dr. Morgan looked shocked. You were developing a bioweapon? That's why they hunted you down? Yes. Killed all my people. I escaped with knowledge here. Krill tapped its head. Can recreate weapon, but need human help. Colonel West stepped closer to Krill. Why didn't you tell us this before? Needed, to be sure humans would fight. Would not surrender me to save themselves. Before Colonel West could respond, Ryan's urgent voice came through the radio. I've got trouble. The hunter picked up my scent. It's heading my way. They could hear Ryan breathing hard as he ran. Then a roar, inhuman and terrifying, came, through the speaker. "Ryan, get out of there!" Dr. Kim shouted. They heard Ryan curse, then the sound of breaking glass. "I'm trapped in a building, it's circling around." Dr. Kim typed frantically on her computer. "I've been analyzing the hunter's armor. It has a weakness. The sound frequency 172.5 Hz seems to disrupt its systems. There's a fire alarm in the building you're in. If you can set it off, it might disorient the hunter." "Worth a try," Ryan said. They heard more movement, then the piercing sound of a fire alarm. Through the radio came a strange, high-pitched scream, the hunter in pain. "It's working," Ryan shouted over the noise. "It's clutching its head." "Now get out of there," Colonel West ordered. But Ryan had a different idea. "I'm going to try to take its weapons." "That's an order, Hayes. Retreat now." The radio went silent, except for the fire alarm. They waited anxiously. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Finally, Ryan's voice returned. "You're not going to believe this," he said, sounding out of breath. "I got one of its weapons, and I'm bringing back a sample of its blood." "How?" Dr. Kim asked. "The fire alarm stunned it long enough for me to get close. I stabbed it with my knife, grabbed what I could, and ran. It's following me, but it's moving slower now." "Get back to base," Colonel West said. "We'll send a team to cover your retreat." While they waited for Ryan to return, Dr. Morgan studied the information Krill had provided. "If this is correct, we might be able to create a weapon that affects their biology, something that targets their specific genetic makeup. Bioweapon dangerous," Krill warned. "Last resort, could destroy all void stalkers, not just hunters here." "You're talking about genocide," Dr. Morgan said. "They committed genocide against my people," Krill replied. "Would do same to humans if allowed." Colonel West looked grim. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that. For now, let's focus on those sonic weapons. If we can disrupt their hunting abilities, we might stand a chance." When Ryan finally arrived, he was covered in cuts and bruises, but smiling. He placed a strange-looking gun on the table. It was unlike any weapon they had ever seen, with no visible trigger or barrel. "Their blood is green," he said, holding up a vial of thick green liquid. "And their weapons are keyed to their biology. I couldn't make it work." Dr. Kim took the weapon and the blood sample. "This is exactly what we needed. Now we can really start fighting back." As they examined the alien, technology-resistant cells were forming around the world. Small groups of soldiers and civilians were learning to fight the hunters, using the lessons from Ryan's encounter. The hunt was becoming more difficult for the Void Stalkers. For the first time, their prey was fighting back effectively. In orbit, the headhunter watched these developments with growing concern. These humans were proving to be worthy prey indeed, perhaps too worthy. 2 weeks had passed since the Void Stalkers began their hunt on Earth. Cities around the world lay in ruins. Millions were dead, but something unexpected was happening. Humans were fighting back, and they were getting better at it. In the underground bunker, Dr. Patricia Kim worked day and night on her sonic weapons. She had created devices that emitted sound at the exact frequency that disrupted the hunter's senses. The weapons weren't lethal, but they gave human fighters a chance to either escape or attack. Ryan Hayes led a team of former Special Forces soldiers, teaching them how to fight the hunters. They called themselves the Ghost Squad because they moved silently and struck without warning, just like the hunters did. Colonel West coordinated resistance groups worldwide using hidden communications networks. The human military had been shattered in the first days of the attack, but small groups continued to fight. Dr. Morgan and Krill worked on the biological weapon. Despite her moral concerns, Dr. Morgan knew they needed every possible advantage against the Void Stalkers. "Krill, I need to ask you something," Dr. Morgan said as they worked. "You said you came to Earth because humans are known for being adaptable. How did you know about us? We've never made contact with alien civilizations before." Krill looked up from the microscope it was using. "Humans not know aliens. Aliens know humans. Earth watched for many years. Your species interesting. Primitive technology but remarkable intelligence. Quick to learn. Never give up." So we have a reputation out there? Dr. Morgan was surprised. Yes, some fear humans, think you expand too quickly, too aggressively. Others admire strength. I gambled that strength would save both our species. Their conversation was interrupted when Ryan entered the lab, his face scratched and dirty from a recent mission. We took down another hunter, he announced. That's 3 this week. The sonic weapons are working. Any casualties? Colonel West asked, joining them. 2 of our team injured, none killed, Ryan replied. We're getting better at this. The Void Stalkers are getting frustrated, Colonel West said. They've started bombing areas instead of hunting on the ground. They're breaking their own code. Krill made a sound that might have been a laugh. Pride hurt. Prey not supposed to fight back so effectively. Dr. Kim entered with excitement on her face. We've had a breakthrough. We captured one of their shuttle craft. It's small, but it's intact. This was huge news. Until now, they had only captured weapons and armor, but never an actual Void Stalker ship. Where is it? Colonel West asked. Hidden in an old aircraft hangar 20 miles from here. I have a team examining it now. Ryan looked at Krill. Could we use it to get onto their mothership? Krill's eyes widened. Very dangerous, but possible. Shuttle would have access codes. Why would we want to get onto their mothership? Dr. Morgan asked. To end this, Ryan said grimly. We can't keep fighting forever. We need to hit them where it hurts. Colonel West nodded slowly. A strike team. Small, fast. Get onto their ship and do what? Plant bombs? Deploy bioweapon, Krill said. Their life support system would spread it throughout ship. Would kill all aboard. Dr. Morgan looked troubled. The weapon isn't ready yet. And even if it was, are we really considering biological warfare? They're not giving us a choice, Ryan said. Look what they've done to our world. Dr. Kim had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke. The shuttle is our key, but we need more than the bioweapon. We need a distraction, something big enough to draw attention away from a small team approaching the mothership. A coordinated global attack, Colonel West suggested. Every resistance cell hitting targets simultaneously. Make them think it's a last, desperate stand. They spent the next 3 days planning. Dr. Morgan and Krill worked frantically to finish the bioweapon. Dr. Kim studied the shuttle, learning how to operate it. Ryan selected his team. Himself, 2 Ghost Squad members, Dr. Kim to handle the alien technology, and Krill to navigate the mothership. I should go too, Dr. Morgan said. The bioweapon might need adjustments. Ryan didn't like it, but he agreed. They would need someone who understood the weapon. On the day of the attack, resistance fighters across the world struck at the hunters. They used sonic weapons to disorient them, then attacked with conventional weapons. It wasn't about winning. It was about creating chaos and drawing attention. The Void Stalker mothership responded as expected, sending more hunters down to Earth. While the ship's crew was focused on the ground battle, Ryan's team approached in the captured shuttle. Shuttle, approaching docking bay. The Void Stalker flight controller reported to the headhunter. Identification? The headhunter asked. Hunter squad returning with high-value captives. The headhunter was surprised. No hunter squad had reported capturing especially valuable humans. But with the chaos of the global attack, communications were difficult. Allow them to dock, he ordered. The shuttle landed in the massive docking bay of the mothership. When the door opened, Ryan and his team emerged with Krill, who appeared to be their prisoner. They had used the hunter's armor to disguise themselves, and in the confusion of the battle, no one looked too closely. They moved through the enormous ship, guided by Krill. What they saw horrified them. Trophies from dozens, perhaps hundreds of species lined the walls. Entire civilizations reduced to mounted heads and preserved body parts. How many species have they hunted to extinction? Dr. Morgan whispered. Too many, Krill replied. For thousands of years, Void Stalkers hunt intelligent life. Consider it greatest sport. They reached a central chamber where life support systems were housed. Dr. Morgan prepared the bioweapon, a canister containing a specially engineered virus that would target the Void Stalker's unique biology. Once this is released, how fast will it spread? Ryan asked. Minutes through air systems, Krill said. Hours to affect all hunters. Will it hurt humans? One of the Ghost Squad members asked. Dr. Morgan shook her head. No. It's specifically designed for their genetic makeup. As Dr. Morgan was about to place the canister, alarms blared throughout the ship. They had been discovered. We need more time, Dr. Morgan said frantically. Ryan made a quick decision. Split up. Dr. Morgan, finish the job. The rest of us will create a diversion. Ryan, Dr. Kim, and the two Ghost Squad members headed toward the sound of approaching hunters. They would buy time for Dr. Morgan and Krill to complete the mission. The headhunter watched the security feeds with growing rage. Humans on his ship? Prey that dared to invade the hunter's own territory? It was unthinkable, yet it was happening. Find them, he ordered his warriors. Bring me their heads. The hunt had taken an unexpected turn. The predators were about to become the prey. Ryan ducked as a blast of energy scorched the wall where his head had been moments before. The Voidstalker hunters were closing in. He and Dr. Kim had become separated from the two Ghost Squad members, who had drawn off half of the hunters in a different direction. How much longer do you think they need? Dr. Kim asked, checking the charge on the sonic weapon she carried. Not sure, Ryan replied. Let's just keep these hunters busy as long as we can. They moved quickly through the massive ship, staying ahead of their pursuers. The ship was like a maze with strange corridors that sometimes seemed to change shape. It was designed to confuse intruders, and it was working. Meanwhile, Dr. Morgan and Krill worked frantically to install the bioweapon into the mothership's life support system. The system was complex, and Krill's 4 hands moved quickly over the alien controls. Almost ready, Krill said. Need to bypass security protocols. Dr. Morgan kept watch at the door. Hurry, I can hear them coming. In another part of the ship, the two Ghost Squad members, Steve and Lisa, had been cornered. They fought bravely, using their sonic weapons to disorient the hunters, but they were outnumbered. Steve was hit by an energy blast that took off his arm. Lisa tried to drag him to safety, but another blast caught her in the back. Their sacrifice had bought valuable time for the others. Ryan and Dr. Kim felt the ship shake. What was that? Dr. Kim asked. They're attacking Earth again, Ryan guessed. The distraction on the ground must be working too well. They reached a large chamber filled with what looked like stasis pods. Inside each pod was a different alien species, preserved alive but unconscious. They're keeping specimens, Dr. Kim said in horror. Like a zoo. Or a pantry, Ryan added grimly. A deep voice spoke behind them. Impressive that prey made it this far. They spun around to see the headhunter, nearly 10 feet tall, his armor more elaborate than the others. He wore a necklace of what looked like human fingers. But the hunt ends here, the headhunter continued, raising a weapon. Ryan fired his sonic device. The headhunter staggered but didn't fall. His armor was different, more resistant to their weapons. The head of a worthy prey will be my greatest trophy, the hunter said, advancing on them. Back at the life support center, Krill finally bypassed the security system. Ready to deploy weapon, it told Dr. Morgan. Just then, 3 hunters burst into the room. Dr. Morgan fired her sonic weapon, disorienting 2 of them, but the third kept coming. Krill moved with surprising speed, leaping at the hunter. They crashed to the floor, Krill's claws tearing at the hunter's armor. Install weapon, Krill shouted to Dr. Morgan. Now! Dr. Morgan rushed to the console and inserted the canister containing the bioweapon. She activated the release mechanism, and a green mist began to flow into the ship's ventilation system. It's done, she called to Krill. But Krill was badly injured, green blood flowing from multiple wounds. The hunter it had attacked was dead, but the other 2 were recovering from the sonic blast. Run, Krill gasped. Find others. Get to shuttle. Dr. Morgan didn't want to leave Krill, but she knew she had to warn Ryan and Dr. Kim. She slipped out a side door as the hunters fired at her. Ryan and Dr. Kim were fighting for their lives against the headhunter. Their sonic weapons had limited effect, and they were running out of places to hide. We need to get back to the shuttle, Ryan said. Whatever happens with the bioweapon, we can't stay here. The headhunter laughed, a chilling sound. No escape. For prey. Then Dr. Morgan's voice came through their comm devices. The weapon is deployed. Get to the shuttle now. The virus will spread through the whole ship in minutes. The headhunter heard this and roared in fury. He lunged at Ryan, who dodged but not quickly enough. The hunter's clawed hand caught Ryan's side, tearing through his armor and into flesh. Dr. Kim fired her sonic weapon directly at the hunter's face, finding a gap in his armor. The hunter screamed and clutched his head, giving them a moment to escape. Ryan stumbled, bleeding badly. Dr. Kim helped him move toward the shuttle bay. "Stay with me, Ryan," she urged. "We're almost there." They met Dr. Morgan in a corridor near the shuttle bay. "Where's Krill?" Ryan asked, his voice weak. "Fighting. The hunters," Dr. Morgan said, tears in her eyes. "It stayed behind to give us time." "And the others?" Dr. Kim asked. Dr. Morgan shook her head. "I couldn't find them." They reached the shuttle bay just as alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The bioweapon was taking effect. Hunters were collapsing, the virus attacking their systems with devastating speed. They boarded the shuttle, but Ryan collapsed before reaching the pilot's seat. He was losing too much blood. "I'll fly," Dr. Kim said, taking the controls. "Dr. Morgan, help Ryan." As the shuttle prepared to launch, the headhunter appeared at the bay doors. He was staggering, clearly affected by the virus, but still moving. He raised his weapon. Before he could fire, another figure appeared behind him. It was Krill, badly wounded but still alive. Krill leaped onto the headhunter's back, driving a metal shard into the gap in his armor. Both figures fell to the floor. "Krill!" Dr. Morgan shouted. Krill looked up at the shuttle. Through the comm device came its final words. "Go. Tell story. Make sure no more hunting." The shuttle bay doors began to close as the ship's automated systems tried to contain the virus. Dr. Kim fired the engines, and the shuttle shot out just before the doors sealed. As they flew away, they saw the massive Voidstalker ships begin to fire on each other. The virus had spread through their communication systems to the other ships. The hunters were destroying themselves to prevent the virus from spreading further. Ryan watched through the shuttle window, his life fading. "Did we win?" he asked weakly. "Yes," Dr. Morgan said, trying to stop his bleeding. "Thanks to you. Thanks to all of you." But Ryan's eyes closed, and despite Dr. Morgan's efforts, he didn't open them again. He died as the shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, the sky behind them filled with the explosions of the Voidstalker fleet destroying itself. 1 month later, Earth was beginning to rebuild. The cost had been terrible. Billions dead, cities destroyed, ecosystems damaged, but humanity had survived. Dr. Morgan and Dr. Kim stood at a memorial service for those who had fallen, including Ryan, Steve, Lisa, and Krill. They had told the world what happened, how a desperate alien refugee and a small team of humans had defeated the galaxy's deadliest hunters. "Do you think they're all gone?" Dr. Kim asked quietly. Dr. Morgan looked up at the stars. "I hope so." But far away, at the edge of the solar system, a small Voidstalker ship drifted. Inside, a single hunter watched recordings of the battle on Earth. This hunter had been ordered to stay behind to observe and record the hunt. Now it was the last of its kind. The hunter placed a hand on the ship's controls. Earth had proven itself to be the most dangerous prey in the galaxy. But that only made the hunt more interesting. The hunter turned its ship toward deep space. It would return to the Voidstalker homeworld, share what it had learned and build a new hunting fleet. And then it would return to Earth, because the greatest hunt was only just beginning.